All right, welcome everybody to another episode of Friends Occasionally Not Disagreeing, the Fawn Pod, the Fawncast. Holy cow. We got the double J's here with us today, Joe and Justin. We're all going to get up in that scrollage.
I'm still on cocaine. Wait, I mean, no, not that.
Wrong episode.
Oh, wrong episode.
Or is it?
We're saving that one for the 4th of July, Joe, because it's America. Bears and cocaine.
Yeah.
That's America. But we're talking about a different one here today. What have you gents been up to here recently? Who wants to go first on this one, besides drinking all day, which I gather you both have been doing here. So,
Hey, I've had a week. I the good thing, the good part of it all was this past weekend. I did go downstate with my wife for one of her cousin's weddings. It was a very nice time. Good food, nice venue, all that. Bit of traffic on the bridge, and including an accident that delayed us for longer than it should have. We barely made it on time, but that was fine. The very next day, I grab an apple and I go to take a bite of it, and my jaw makes a sound like someone just grabbed a plastic water bottle and crushed it in their hands. And
oh no.
It was a matter of, it wasn't swollen at all, but it felt like I had just been socked, in the side of the face by, a heavyweight boxer pretty much. And took a good 2 days for that to start feeling it all like normal again. And don't get old, kids. That's the best advice I have to offer on that.
Way to promote suicide, Justin. Boy, we're off to a good start here today.
No, we covered that in an earlier episode with the hotline and all that. We're good. We're golden.
Yoink. All right.
But aside from that, work has been stupidly busy for a random middle of a random month in the summer. I don't know if you've ever had to try and count 5,000 $1 bills, but it takes a while. And it's gross, and your hands will be basically covered in ink and other things by the time you're done.
It's worse when you're on stage and people are watching, but go on.
Do you not have those like counting machines?
We do, but they only count the number of bills, and we can't just assume that they're all going to be the same denomination. So a human has to go through them initially the first time and make sure that they are all the type of bill they're supposed to be. And
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Did you find any imposters?
No, they were all $1 bills. And then my count was off and my drawer was off at the end of the day, and it's been a week. So either someone worked at or got banned from a strip club and got stuck with all those singles. I hope this guy didn't work at a strip club.
Justin's long-running plot to work there for 6 years and then steal $3 out of his till is underway. So look out.
I mean, I hope if I don't recover this, I hope my boss ends up realizing that, hey, that's a stupid amount of money to have to try and count, and mistakes happen. But it still is kind of a kick in the teeth. But it's been my life lately. How about you guys?
I haven't really had anything too exciting going on recently. The only thing I wanted to give a quick mention to is a show that I know I've mentioned on this podcast before, but season 2 of Star Trek: Strange New Worlds started last week. Episode 2 came out today, and it's fantastic. Like, if anyone has ever had even a remote interest in Star Trek, I can't recommend this series enough. It's, for the first time probably since The Next Generation, it's a Star Trek series that really feels like Star Trek. And I have been amazed at how much I love just the entire cast. Every character on the show is fantastic. Small spoiler, the first episode of season 2, the captain, who is kind of like the main character in season 1, is barely in the episode, and it's still an amazing episode. And from what I've gathered, season 2 is going to be more of kind of an ensemble show. I don't know if they've taken them down, but I know recently, at least, they had posted all of season 1 on YouTube for free. So you could watch every episode. I did see earlier that they have at least a couple episodes of season 1 still up, and they do have the first episode of season 2 on the official Paramount Plus YouTube channel as well. So nobody has an excuse not to check it out, but it's just Like, honestly, it's been a while since I have looked forward to a TV show on a weekly basis, like to the extent that I look forward to Strange New World. So check it out, everybody.
Man, why aren't we talking about that show tonight?
That's a great question.
Right?
That's really I mean, that's honestly like the only thing I really wanted to shout out. This weekend we're going to be doing some traveling. We're going up to Traverse City on Saturday for our niece's graduation party, and then driving down to Detroit on Sunday for a Ben Folds concert.
Nice.
So excited about that. But yeah, I can talk about that next time I'm around. What have you been up to, Cody?
I was rocking some Ben Folds in the car today, driving to and from music. So
were you rocking the suburbs?
I was rocking a couple tracks off the suburbs,
Nice.
but yeah, I did a little Fred Jones Part 2, and I think I played some Zach and Sarah on there and some other stuff. But what have I been up to? Well, I leave on a long trip tomorrow, so it's kind of been preparation for that, and I still have a lot of stuff I got to do for that tonight. But the other big thing I guess I've been doing is representing the Fawn podcast on national TV at the last two
Yeah.
AEW events. We're in Chicago here. Saturday we went to the first episode ever of AEW Collision, and then last night we watched recordings for Dynamite and Rampage that they had there. Some really good matches, really good, exciting stuff. I know neither of you are into the current wrestling world landscape, but AEW has kind of a working relationship with both one of the big companies in Mexico and one of the biggest company in Japan, and they have a big pay-per-view Sunday this weekend that's like all the American stars versus all the Japanese stars. So they were basically like all there. So I was commenting to Boston last night that we actually got to see the world champion of 4 different promotions over the last couple days. We saw the world champion of Mexico was there last night, and Japan. We saw the 2 American ones as well. So pretty crazy stuff.
Nice.
The other little tiny thing I want to just give a shout out here to is I still have been on a Jelly Belly kick since Easter, which at this point is just kind of sad, but I continue to buy them. But I happened to go to TJ Maxx the other day, which I had never been in a long time, and I found these.
Ooh.
Jelly Belly Cocktail Classics.
Fancy.
The flavors are strawberry daiquiri, margarita, mimosa, mojito, gin and tonic, pomegranate Cosmo, pina colada, and Moscow Mule. And yes, they actually all do taste pretty much like the actual drink. It's kind of a weird placebo effect thing going on when you eat these.
I'm enjoying an old-fashioned flavor myself right now.
There you go.
I've seen gummy bears that were booze flavored, but never jelly beans.
They are non-alcoholic, but like I said, they just the flavor makes you think,
Yeah,
that's interesting.
So they're pretty good. But other than that, not really too much. I've been watching my James Bond movies for the solo episodes I've been doing on that, and just started. I mentioned in the group chat the other day. I just started No Man's Sky 2 nights ago to try that, and promptly died in about 40 minutes because I died of radiation. So, but intrigued to see where that goes. I might try that again a little bit on vacation.
So, confirmed, not a Skrull.
Not a Skrull. Yeah. But speaking of, let's get into this cinematic masterpiece. We've been waiting a long time.
Those sure are 2 words you put together.
Looks like hard to believe it's been since October 13th. The last MCU Disney Plus TV show came out of anything. And that was the last episode of She-Hulk. So it's been 9 months since.
I believe you mean She-Hulk : Attorney at Law.
No, She-Hulk : yeah. Yeah, it's been about 9 months since we've had one of these though. So I was really excited for this new show to come out because
that makes one of us.
It brings back some beloved characters and maybe some familiar settings, a bunch of people pretending to be someone they're not, and we probably shouldn't talk anymore about the Titanic submarine disaster. Let's talk about instead Secret Invasion with Nick Fury, Sam Jackson. Wow. Well, here we go. This is a plot. I guess I'll just mention my own comment here first. I was excited to see what they were eventually ever going to do with the Skrulls after they were introduced, because I know that's been used in the comics several times for like big plot lines. and it seems to just be kind of this semi-self-contained series, I'm guessing, on Disney Plus, since they have the whole multiverse thing going on, Kang and wherever that's all at. But I was super excited just to see, like, there's infinite stories they could tell with people posing as other people, and then you could get into like superheroes posing as other people or the president or whoever. So was really excited to see what they were going to do with this series myself. How about you guys? Were you, Joe, you weren't excited about this, you said?
I was actually excited about this series when they first announced it. I actually, probably more so than most people I know, I really liked the Captain Marvel movie, which introduced the Skrulls. I love Ben Mendelsohn as Talos, which he shows up here, and we could talk about that later.
Does he though?
I love Sam Jackson as Nick Fury. I fairly early on they announced that Academy Award winner Olivia Colman was going to be on this series, and I like adore her. So I was excited when they announced it like a couple years ago, but I think I can say at this point that I finally officially have Marvel fatigue. Like I really just don't care anymore. Like I just cannot get excited about any Marvel stuff that's coming out. I'm over it.
You're burned out.
So I am very burnt out.
Well, I know you've been talking about Marvel fatigue for quite a while.
Well, for a while I've felt it kind of sneaking up on me, but I have still even somewhat begrudgingly watched all of the Marvel stuff. But like at this point, I haven't seen the last, I think, two movies. I haven't seen Quantumania or Guardians 3. And I'm sure I might watch them at some point, but like even though like Quantumania is on Disney Plus, I'm sure Guardians 3 will be on Disney Plus in the next month or so. I'm probably not gonna like jump on it anytime in the near future.
Jump on it. Well, you should, because one's very good and one's good to okay.
one's very good and one's Quantumania.
Well, yes.
How hype were you, Justin?
Well,
I see you have the shirt on.
in the last couple Marvel episodes we've done, I mean, I think I've brought up that I also have been feeling superhero / Marvel fatigue in general too. That said, I never read the source material for Secret Invasion, in the comics, but I know it's highly regarded. And knowing that they were going to do an adaptation of it, I was like, okay, I'm on board with this. I wouldn't say I was like hyped to the moon or anything, but I was interested. Simply because if they're done right, stories about, where you can't trust anyone, or you're not sure if anyone is who they say they are, those can be really fun and really, tense and really engaging. I mean, see They Live or The Thing or, things like that, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. If it's done well, it can make for some really good plot material.
January 6th, storming of the Capitol.
No, we knew who all those people were. So yeah, I was probably the most interested or anticipatory of this as I have been for any Marvel thing since, say, Moon Knight. But also, like Joe said, I haven't seen the last couple of movies, but this I was actually kind of curious about. So yeah, it's one of the higher things on my list from the past couple of years.
Okay. Well, I kind of, to just comment on both of your things here quickly, Joe, I was with you that I actually did really enjoy the Captain Marvel movie as well. To me, it's we'd have to relook that list again, but it'd probably be in the top half at least of the Marvel movies for me. I more enjoyed it than certainly didn't enjoy it. I thought a lot of things about it were good, and Justin, I agree with you. Like the kind of hidden identity type stuff has always been a fascinating. I don't know if it's a genre per se, but an idea, a trope, or whatever you want to use, in movies or really anything, movies or television, books, video games, even whatever it's going to be. That's a fascinating thing. So, board games as well, I might add. It comes up in board games also. So connect all of our things here. Yeah. Well, let's get into this a little bit. So, since we have one episode to go with here, this is the premiere that we're kind of reviewing tonight. we're introduced basically to some recurring characters as this goes in, and then we're introduced to some new characters to the MCU as well. And let's see what
And
you
we're
all
introduced to at least one character.
Oh no. The art dealer?
Yes.
Okay.
What is Dirty Bomb?
The arts dealer. All right, let's jump into this here. So well, we normally try to recently stay away from plots. I think maybe just taking a look at what happened in this first episode might give us a chance to kind of just get into this a little bit. We should also mention this is only scheduled for 6 episodes. This is not a very big plot. Well, it's not a very long show, I guess I should say. Who knows where this plot's going to go, but
I mean, do we know the running time of all the episodes, though? Because they could theoretically be like 90 minutes if they wanted to.
you think they're going to Stranger Things us?
It's possible. I'm just saying it's possible. I doubt they will, but who knows?
But I think they've even done that with other Marvel shows. So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. On the flip side, this was a 55-minute episode. They could very well be 37-minute episodes as well. They've done that, so
yeah,
we couldn't be so lucky.
Oh wow! All right, we're getting some vitriol here today. Should also mention our MCU guru and brother here, Dave, couldn't make it tonight, so I don't know his thoughts on this series. I don't know if he's even seen it yet at the time of recording, but we'll have to check in with him at a later time and see where he is at on all this. I think we can safely say he was excited for it, but let's get into the beginning here. All right, opening scene. We're in Moscow, and we have a couple recurring characters here. We have Talos, Ben Mendelsohn's character Joe mentioned earlier, and then Everett K. Ross. What's the actor? Martin Freeman's last name?
Yeah. Martin Freeman.
Kind of doing a little chase scene here, and essentially we find out pretty early on that through a little quick chain of events, gasp, Everett K. Ross was not Everett K. Ross.
Were either of you guys surprised by that?
Not really.
Skrull.
Literally, as soon as Martin Freeman walked on screen at the very start of the episode, I was just like, he's a Skrull. He's going to be a Skrull. And then especially once he starts talking to the guy who's like telling them about the theory, it's like, obviously he's a freaking Skrull. Like, it was just not a surprise at all.
I had a slight moment where I thought maybe the guy he was talking to was the Skrull. And it was kind of like the villain revealing their plan to the hero before they do something stupid type moment. But
I did also. I had that very briefly, but
yeah, very briefly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, essentially, what we come to find out in this is we have a new plot, I guess, in the MCU, which is the Skrulls have been re-infiltrating the Earth, posing as some people. They have some bases, I guess, of operations across the planet, notably here in Russia. And their goal is to basically start a war between Russia and the United States. What was the organization name? Like Americans Against Russia or something?
Something very simple and bog standard like that. Yeah.
Okay, we get some recurring characters back as well here at the beginning in the form of Maria Hill, Joe's favorite. And then also
I mean, character is a strong term for Maria Hill, but we'll talk about that later.
Ooh. Okay. And Nick Fury.
Nick Fury.
Returning to Earth since when has he been gone? It's been a while.
I don't know, but he showed up like freaking Mr. Bean at the start of one of those episodes, just a pillar of light, and all of a sudden he's just like flopped down on the ground.
I'm here for like grizzled old sea captain Nick Fury.
Yeah, he's got a good look to him.
Yeah, I like the beard and everything.
Yeah.
We should say one of the kind of recurring comments the characters make in this are basically that he is now too old to continue to be Nick Fury. Like he's lost his edge since he's actually kind of caused him to go off planet, right?
Well, I don't think it's that he's too old. I think they're saying that he changed ever since the snap, like ever since he came back from the snap.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, like he's not the same anymore. He's lost his edge. He doesn't have that same sharpness. And given some of the events that happen in this episode, I'm inclined to believe them. But we'll get to that.
Yeah. There's some moments.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we will see what happens here. Let's find out as Fury and Talos finally talk a little bit together. They kind of fill each other in on what's been going on. And they find out that a Skrull by the name of Gravik has basically formed himself a little posse, and he is now in the council or whatever you will of the Skrulls. who are on Earth at the time, and come find out later that this is a real bad dude, apparently. Joe, you want to talk about Sonya Fallsworth, Nick Fury's old acquaintance who kidnaps him, played by
Olivia Colman. Academy Award winner Olivia Colman. I mean, she's great. I don't really have much to say about this character because I don't really know anything about this character, but I did enjoy her scene with Nick Fury. I thought they had some good chemistry together. I liked the whole debate over whether or not he allowed himself to get caught by her agents, or if he's just kind of slipping. Kind of inclined to believe he let himself get caught because he plants some kind of like bug in her office. So it seems like he kind of had a game plan going in there.
Also, he didn't fight back at all.
Yeah,
like, he's just walking down the streets of Moscow, and a truck or a car pulls up, and a bunch of goons just like grab him. And throw him
like put a bag over his head. He's just like, all right. But yeah, I mean, I honestly, I'm curious about her character. Like, I kind of expected to have her be revealed as a Skrull, and I'm still not convinced that that's not going to happen at some point. But I am just intrigued to see like what kind of role she plays in this series overall.
Yeah, so she's basically says her character description here is a high-ranking MI6 agent, which is just really throwing me off since I'm like 5 or 6 Bond movies.
So she's she's M basically.
Yeah, I guess. Or M on the field. I don't know. I guess so. Interesting.
Okay, I will admit some of my my experience with the movies is a bit spotty, so I wasn't sure going into this if she was from a film I hadn't seen, or so am I right in understanding she is new to this series?
Yes,
correct.
Okay. Because there were a few assumptions I made about a few things, and I wasn't sure if I was supposed to know who she was or not. So okay, good to know.
All right. Well, we have a sort of investigative chase scene up next here, where Nick Fury and Talos find this art dealer I was mentioning earlier, Vasily Poprishin, and that I kind of liked the exchange of
vodka Drunkinsky.
Yeah, exactly right. I kind of liked how he was both a Skrull in hiding and also was a very concerned art dealer. It was like, that chair belonged to Louis.
I was honestly a little surprised when he was revealed to be a Skrull, like just because of that. Like he was really playing that role well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I did like the interplay between him and Fury, where the art dealer, he's like that, that was the chair of Louis the 15th, and I think Fury intentionally gets it wrong, saying oh, this is Louis the 14th chair, that sort of thing, just to kind of like rile him up a little more. Yeah.
He's like, do you want to take this conversation out into the gallery? And he's like, you got another one of these Louis chairs out there?
Yeah.
All right, we'll fight. Well, so I mentioned Fury is too old, but maybe I'm projecting a little bit based on how they're presenting Talos in this one, because he also has kind of lost a step and probably has some emotional. I mean, they're very parallel characters, right? The two of them, Fury and Talos, in this, because Fury's affected by the blip. Talos, we find out his wife has passed on since we saw him last. And in this scene, Talos is the one who's like, I can take this art dealer guy. I'll get the information we need out of him. And then they start to fight. Nick Fury's like, do you need help? And he's like, no, I got this. And like, he got his butt handed to him.
Gets thrown through a pillar, and yeah,
a huge cement pillar, which apparently was not structurally there to hold the ceiling up. So no worries. No worries.
It is Russia, so I mean.
So I don't know. So I guess this is kind of, I'm seeing this show as a little bit of, we have these characters who are aged and wounded in a couple ways here, mentally and maybe emotionally, and trying to see if they can carry on the way they have been doing things up to this point. So they end up killing him. So there's that. They don't get the information out of him they want. They're looking for the bombs, basically, that are supposed to start this conflict between the two countries. And then we have a character played by Emilia Clarke called Khaleesi. Just kidding. It's the girl from Han Solo. Nobody knows her name. Kira?
It's Kira.
It's Kira. That's right. Well, here it's Gaia,
Just kidding. It's Sarah Connor.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
Nobody did.
That one's good. Oh, okay. Oof. Well, we find out that little old baby Skrull girl from the old movie is all grown up now, and his daughter Gaia is working for the rebel Skrulls and helping set off this conflict between the two countries. Did you guys need to know more in this episode as to why she was doing that, or were you okay with it?
I mean, they give it lip service a little later on when she gets confronted on the ladder trying to get away. But for what it was, I mean, we did at least get a reason. It wouldn't have hurt to have it fleshed out a little more, but
yeah,
at least it was there.
I could have used a little more, just like, especially because I feel like Talos mentions multiple times that Gravik and or his people were responsible for her mother's death.
Mm-hmm.
And she just doesn't really seem to be bothered by that at all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would bet money that that's going to be a thing, throughout the rest of the series, her kind of grappling with that. But it just, I don't know. I would have liked a little bit more to see why she is so willing to just like go against her father and help these people who ostensibly killed her mother.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like I need to know some of the motivation, or at least fill in some pieces as this goes on in the next episode or two, as to like, okay, she was a little girl and was with her dad together, and then now she's working for these like warmongering separatists who are doing this other job and doesn't talk to her dad anymore. And clearly he hasn't seen her in a long time either, because I think it's like she's in human form and then she speaks, and then that was how he knew it was her, because he recognized her voice. So and then she switches. Well, no, she has not switched, has she?
I don't think we see her transform.
We've only seen her as Amelia Clark.
Okay.
He recognized her because of the 3 dragons that were hanging out around her, though.
Yes. They were all dirty bombs. Okay, so there is going to be some sort of attack that is happening here, and Gaia, his daughter, says that they're going to drop the bombs in this square in Moscow on apparently what site I'm looking at is calling it Unity Day. I saw another website the other day that called it something different. Some sort of parade's going on. There's a celebration. There's all sorts of crazy things happening here.
Jugglers and acrobats and
yeah. So, but
little girls with giant balls.
I mean, Chernobyl was a hell of an event.
There's a little girl carrying a big ball around.
Yeah, there is. That part was kind of creepy, actually.
That was creepy. Yeah, that was actually creepy.
Which we'll talk about that in 1 second here. So anyway, she says she'll mark the bombs. She puts this like spray paint on them that you can see with infrared glasses. And then we see basically this team of Nick Fury, Maria Hill, and Talos are going to try to stop the bombers, essentially in this in this square. And before we get to what happens at the end of this episode, we find out that those are essentially fake.
It was a lie.
They were plants. So are we to believe that his daughter wasn't to be trusted, that they knew his daughter wasn't to be trusted? So we have no way of knowing that they knew that she met with her dad, correct?
Right. As of this point, anyway.
So did she double cross them? Or did they somehow know this? Or maybe they just knew Nick Fury was there, and so, but then why? I
wasn't sure, because like, doesn't Gravik or like the other dude that works with Gravik says something to her along the lines of like, thanks to you, we have everything, like our plans in motion or something like that. And like, I kind of took that to be that maybe she did double cross Talos, but it could have just been trying to make me think that.
I will say one thing that annoyed me just from a logistical perspective in this episode is it felt like there were like 3 times the rebels could have just like shot and killed Nick Fury at various points in this episode, and like they don't, and then at the end he's about to shoot him and then he doesn't. I'm like, we already could have did that like 3 times, but
Well, I mean, also, I mean, going back to the scene where Talos is chasing his daughter through the sewer or whatever, like he could have just shot her in the leg or something. Like I could understand his hesitance to like kill his daughter, but he could have done more to stop her from getting away and being part of this plan.
True.
Yeah, that's true, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. There are a fair number of questions or inconsistencies in this show, like going to the whole like pursuit through the crowd at the celebration where
Yeah, let's
they
talk
think
about
they're
that.
yeah. So there's one figure in particular. It starts off as the girl with the ball, but then as Fury is tailing her through the crowd, it changes into other people. No one notices this. I mean, the first change that the girl goes through, she goes from being like a 4 foot tall girl carrying a ball to like a 6 foot tall dude in a trench coat, and no one sees that metamorphosis happen in the crowd at all. I know it's shielded from the camera, but it's just like, what?
I mean, it was busy.
Yeah, I honestly that doesn't bother me.
You're the
I
guy who
think
just said in a recent podcast you lost a skateboarder outside your window, so
I mean, I honestly think, especially in a crowd like that, everybody is so busy just doing their own thing. Like I believe that nobody would really be paying attention to that.
No, all right, fair enough. It just seems weird to me, but okay. But yeah, so yeah, this scene, I mean, it seems like they lose sight of who they're trying to track pretty easily. I mean, yes, it's a crowd, but there's three agents in ostensibly from three different points of view trying to track these people with the backpacks, and there is a point where they just lose them, like all three of them lose them, and I don't know, it just feels like they're maybe not good at their jobs. Am I the only one who felt that way? Because I seem to be the only one who had an issue with the shape changing stuff. But
well, I mean, if you're right, then that gives a little more credence to like them saying Nick can't handle his job anymore. Like he's just not as good as he used to be.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, it's a weird situation too, because I'm inclined to say, given what is at stake, and they know that these bombs are out there, you would think that they might want a larger team. But I know that like the response to that is that they don't know who they can trust because of the Skrull situation.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, it seems like they could have come up with a better plan of some sort, and or maybe found some more people that they trust.
I just want to say visually, I liked the scene of the guy going through the crowd and continually changing. And
yeah, I thought that was cool. I thought it was like well shot and well executed.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say,
it was cool. Yeah.
So since he changed into that one kind of bigger dude that was at the bar, that means it was also him at that bar earlier, correct?
That's the implication, anyway.
Or randomly he killed that one guy and took his spot, and randomly.
Yeah.
So that's like another time I was like, okay, so he talked to Nick Fury there. Why didn't he kill him there?
The bar where Nick Fury is buying people shots?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's
what
right.
What a scene that was.
Yeah. Right. One of the things we did kind of gloss over. Like we also didn't mention the whole the section with
kind of spooky.
But yeah, we also didn't mention the part where we get to see our glimpse of quote unquote new Skrullos, the encampment where the are, where their whole thing is like wanting to feel like they belong in their own skin or whatever. And I don't remember what exactly their motto is, but that's like their rallying cry or whatever. But it didn't really add a whole lot to the narrative aside from getting to see behind the enemy lines. So I guess it makes sense to kind of skip it.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I feel like if I was a Skrull and I had a choice between living in that super depressing, like prison camp-esque environment or just blending in with humans, I'd probably just try to wear my human skin all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, well, can we talk? So
you might be forgetting, though, what's behind that door. Victory.
Well, okay. Let's talk about the Skrulls plot. So they're upset because Nick Fury promised that he would find them a new home planet and has yet to deliver on that promise like 30 years later. Is the implication that they're basically trying to get the humans to destroy themselves so they can take over Earth? Like, I don't. What is their end game that is spawned by their being frustrated that they haven't gotten their own new home planet yet?
I mean, it has to. They say Talos, is it Talos? I think that says to Nick Fury, he's like, if this works out, like the final result is the destruction of the human race. Like your kind will be gone.
So I mean, it just seems like a weird plot to me, and like a weird, like there's no other planet. I don't know. It's just weird to me.
Yeah, I mean, they couldn't hook them up with the Guardians or something, let them scope out a potential new home for him or something.
Well, so I haven't seen Guardians 3 yet, but I heard this mentioned. I heard this mentioned on a podcast about Secret Invasion that apparently one of the plot points from Guardians, which I watched the Christmas special, which is in there too, that nowhere, the planet that they've kind of inhabited, is like a haven for people who don't have a home elsewhere. Yeah. And like maybe the Skrulls would be welcome there. Or, or if not the Guardians, like Thor or like one of the other galactic heroes could probably help them find a planet.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not wrong on that. So but I mean, where are you going to find a planet that's destroyed itself as much as here? I mean, it's not easy to find global warming just anywhere.
That's the other thing. Why would you want to stay on Earth? Like, why would you possibly want to take over Earth and make this your home? This place is a fucking cesspool.
Yes,
yeah,
it does have Maria Hill,
but not if we all kill each other.
So okay, so we find out this is back to the square here. They find out that the bombs are decoys, and with it, Gravik presses the button, the bombs explode, and heroes are like, wah, 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 we didn't stop him. And here comes the first tension, supposedly, at least, between the countries now. And then we get Nick Fury and all the chaos calling Maria Hill over to him.
Except...
And then we find out that Nick Fury isn't the Nick Fury. He's a different Nick Fury.
It's Gravik. It's Grav Nick Fury.
It's 80s Nick Fury with his cute tie. Just kidding. It's Avengers Nick Fury. No, it's not. It's Gravik Nick Fury.
It's David Hasselhoff as Nick Fury in a made-for-TV movie from the 90s.
Love that. Love that. And he done shoots Maria Hill.
He done did it.
Yeah. So, Joe, you wanted to talk a little bit about Maria Hill, it sounded like.
Okay, so I'm assuming you had said in our group chat that you were like shocked by the ending of this episode or something like that.
Yes.
Is it because of the Maria Hill situation?
Yes.
Who cares? She's not a character. She's literally probably had like 10 total minutes of screen time in the entire MCU. Like, it means nothing. I literally felt nothing when she got fucking murdered in this episode because she is a non-person in the MCU. Like, I like Kobe Smulders as an actress. I watched her for 8 seasons in How I Met Your Mother. I thought she was great. But, and I mean, I'm not knocking her at all for her performance as Maria Hill, but there's just nothing to that character. There's like no depth whatsoever. Like, so when she gets gunned down here, I'm just like, all right, that happened. Like, it did not mean anything to me.
Yeah, the biggest thing for me is like, okay, well, that's one less person that they know they can trust because she's dead now. That was kind of the most impactful thing about her death to me as well. Otherwise, she may well have just been, one of the poor hapless Russian citizens who got blown up by bombs.
I think it is supposed to be really meaningful for Nick Fury because she's been his second in command, but we have never in all of the movies that they've both been in really seen their relationship with any sort of depth. Like, It's literally just like she randomly will be next to him sometimes. You know, if we had seen any amount of buildup of that relationship, then this scene would have some power behind it. But it's just nothing.
Interesting.
That's fair.
I guess I can see where you're coming from. I guess to me it was, and you're right, she's never really built up that much. I was just checking her character biography here. So she was in the Avengers, Captain America, the Winter Soldier, Avengers Age of Ultron, Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame. Only mentioned Spider-Man Far From Home. Apparently she's in the Marvels. Spoiler alert on that, since it says it's on here. And then but also the TV show Agents of Shield, so to me she was, though not a big character, she's one of the original characters, and they don't often kill off an original character here. So I guess that's kind of more where I was coming from.
Well, okay, let me break it down for you this way.
Yeah.
So she made her first appearance in the Avengers. Is that true?
I think so. She must have, because they went ahead her on Agents of
So
Shield before
that was 2012. This is 2023. So that's 11 years she's been in the MCU.
Yeah.
Phil Coulson was in the MCU for 4 years before he got killed in the Avengers, and his death in that movie had a way bigger impact than her death in this series, because he actually felt like a character.
Sure.
He died in which one? The Avengers?
Yeah.
Was he already on Agents of Shield by then?
That was after the Avengers. No one ever watched that show.
I watched it all the way through.
But I'm just saying, like, it's possible to have a minor side character who still has enough screen time and presence to make an impact in a short period of time. That just is not the case with Maria Hill, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, she's certainly not overly developed. I'll give you that. I think just the image, though, of, in my mind, of her always being with Nick Fury, and the fact that she has been around for so long and has been on the old TV shows before there was the MCU TV shows and the movies and all these, I don't know.
Well, I mean, like I said, I understand the impact that her death has on Nick Fury. Right. I just don't feel like it had that impact on me as an audience member.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I guess I was also saying I was partially shocked because they chose to have a character death in the first episode, as more of what I was saying was the shocking part. Regardless of how developed you think she is or whatever, like the fact that was episode 1 cliffhanger was bang, bang, she's dead. I'm like, holy shit. I don't know, but it kind of showed me also like this show could have stakes in the MCU. I don't know if it will, because like you said, she probably won't be missed by too much of the MCU itself, but that's episode 1. Who knows, I
do have a quote here actually from Wikipedia from Kevin Feige. When they first announced it, Feige said it would be a crossover event series that would tie in with future MCU films. So I'm kind of curious to see how that plays out, just because there has been a lot of like shakeups in the behind the scenes Marvel situation recently.
Yeah.
And I know that they've kind of reconfigured a lot of their plans moving forward, but it sounds like, at least when this was first conceived, it was intended to be like a major event series that would have ramifications in the movies.
Do you think they're going to make Jonathan Majors a Skrull and just kind of...
They can't see you, Cody.
Are we still on?
Well,
but I did have a question for you guys. Speaking of deaths, am I incorrect on this? And this may not be my crowd I should be asking this to, maybe, but when they show the flashback to the blip, and he kind of has, what is it, like a nightmare basically, where he's like reliving the moment where he dissolves. In the actual movie, at the end of Infinity War, isn't that part where he goes, "Mother," and then he...
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah,
and he doesn't say anything in the version now.
Yeah, he does.
He didn't in the TV show.
Yeah, he said "mother." I swear to God.
Huh. I watched it twice. I didn't hear anything.
Watch it again.
Okay.
Yeah, I swear he does the same thing where he's about to say "mother bleeper," but he
Okay, I'll have to check it out again. I
Disintegrates.
swear I thought they switched it, so okay.
Unless they went back and edited it after I watched it. Maybe they got rid of a joke somewhere in there too.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought, okay, I must be off on that, and I'll double check that. Okay. Talos and Nick Fury run away after Maria is killed. Gravik disappears, and that's kind of where we're left at the end of episode 1 here. So I guess what are your major questions you have going forward, or things you're most interested in? Let's do that, and then maybe we can just do a final thought here. Justin, what do you got for us? What's something you're looking forward to or interested in going forward in this?
Well, like I said at the start of the episode, I do like stories where in the narrative, you and the characters are both unsure of who is trustworthy, who's actually who they say they are, and that element is still present. In this. The episode had its highs, it had its lows, but there is still that potential for some really interesting and potentially tense storytelling as the series goes on, and that's what I'm looking forward to most. Seeing how far the Skrulls have infiltrated into government, Shield itself, society at large, and just seeing how big the threat actually is, and on top of that, seeing what will happen with this whole apparent start to a war between the US and Russia. Like, will it happen? Will something unexpected occur? Will it go sideways somehow? I am curious to see how those things develop.
Okay,
so that's my main thing for there.
Yeah. How about you, Joe? Anything going to get you to watch the rest of this?
Nope. No, I will probably watch the rest of it, honestly. I weirdly, unlike, because I feel like you both agreed that you like the, anyone could be a secret sleeper, whatever structure. I don't love that. I feel like it's been done too many times, and I mean, done well a lot of times. Justin mentioned several examples. I would also throw out the rebooted Battlestar Galactica series from a while back.
Sure.
With all the secret Cylons. Like, I love that show. I thought that, did that concept pretty well. I have just kind of a knee-jerk reaction against like overt twistiness. I feel like it can be cheap, and it can be used as kind of a substitute for an actual well-written story. I mean, I'm not saying that's the case here, but just inherently, like, the concept of like anybody could be a secret Skrull doesn't really do a whole lot for me. What I am interested in with this series, and like this first episode did make me curious about, is to see more of this older, grizzled version of Nick Fury. Because I mean, he's also been in the MCU since the beginning, and he's had some great moments, but we haven't really gotten a whole lot of depth behind his character either. And I think I will say I heard this discussed on another podcast regarding this series, so it's not an original thought, but I think it's an interesting thought. A point that I heard made was going back to the, various people saying that he seems different. One interesting thing to think about is that before the snap, Nick Fury was like the top dog. He was like putting all this shit together. Like, he had all these superheroes at his disposal. He really was just like the baddest mother bleeper in the world. And after the snap, he comes back and he doesn't have anything anymore. Like, he's on the run. He doesn't really have any sort of status or position or power. He's got a few friends, and hopefully he can trust them, maybe not. but it's interesting to consider, like, who is Nick Fury with most of his power stripped away.
Well, he's got some power and influence left. I mean, he's putting together like an orbital defense force.
Yeah, I mean, he
Saber.
does, but it's different. And I mean, maybe that's part of why he has been like, maybe that's part of why he seems different, is because, his role in the world has changed a lot since the snap.
I mean, he's definitely had highs and lows over his character arc.
But I mean, I think going back to what has me interested, I think that's what I'm interested in, is just seeing Nick Fury put at the forefront of the series. And, I'm assuming and hoping that we will get a better idea of what has been going on, like what's going through his mind at this point. Who is he and who has he become as a result of all the shit he's been through?
Okay.
Yeah, I guess for me, one of the biggest questions I had right away, even before this first episode, but especially after watching it, is like what scale they're going to go with this, because it could be a tight little thriller if they kind of juggle 10, 12 characters and I'm not sure who's who at different points. That could be interesting to me, but I just hope, but I fear we're not going to get other superheroes involved in this. We should mention we do get a little cameo by Rhodey, War Machine, as well.
Oh yeah,
with the president in here, but otherwise,
it was weird when Terrence Howard showed up.
Yeah, right. Turned out to be a Skrull. So they got rid of him. No, I was kidding. But that's where I think the real drama would come in, is like, can you trust the superheroes who are Earth's protectors? Who are they? But I was also thinking too, and again, I'm not overly familiar with some of the storylines in the comics with this, but obviously when they switch their image to somebody, like, they're not gaining any of the powers of that person. So it does seem like it would be fairly obvious to just be like, prove it, like prove your Thor, whatever.
Yeah, but on the other hand, I mean, there are a lot of Marvel heroes who don't actually have superpowers, including Rhodey. Yeah. Like a Skrull could presumably put on an Iron Man suit.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe that is a Skrull. Interesting.
And they do appear to have super strength, at least to some extent. So,
and resilience, considering Talos got thrown through that pillar and all that.
Oh yeah, and apparently they're immune to radiation.
Yeah. Which is why a nuclear war, would wipe us out, but not necessarily do.
So yeah, I mean, they could potentially pass, at least as some of the heroes.
Yeah, they do all right. Sees only Skrull I can think of from the comics that was famous was Super Skrull, who had the Fantastic Force powers, which I don't think they can.
All of them?
Yes,
I think he had all of them. Yeah.
Huh.
Which I don't think they can have that happen without the Fantastic Four, unless movie connections. Joe said.
Yeah.
I mean,
anything's possible.
How cool would that be, though, if they like introduced the Fantastic Four at the end of this series randomly, and then we found out like 5 years later they've been Skrulls this entire time?
John Krasinski coming back.
Oh no, Patrick Stewart will play Mr. Fantastic.
I mean, I would watch that.
Will be the Thing. We'll just mix and match everybody's. Emily Blunt will be the Human Torch. Whoever else can be, and we'll bring Michael Chiklis back. He can be
just bring Chiklis back. It's fine.
Yeah, he can be the Invisible One. But that's the end of the episode. So I guess based on the premiere alone, I mean, let's start with Joe, because I have a feeling we probably know our order here a little bit. But what are you giving this out of 10, Joe? In terms of
rating this 1 to 10 on a scale of spooks.
1.
Okay, I have to talk about it. There is a joke in this episode that I cannot believe was in a Disney Plus TV series. Like, it blew my mind when I heard it. Apparently, it went right over Cody's head.
They thought Olivia Colman could act.
How dare you, Justin? Do you know what I'm talking about?
The spooks thing, yeah. Where it's like they're like, oh no, we can't say that anymore, kind of a thing. And
so
it's like,
So spook is a name for a government agent, but it also has another meaning, which is much more offensive.
Oh.
Yep.
And there's a joke in this episode that is clearly a double entendre playing off of both of those meanings. And I was like flabbergasted that they said this in a Marvel Disney Plus TV show. I mean,
Yeah,
I guess if anyone can get away with it, it's Sam Jackson. But like, man, I was shocked.
I mean, it might go over the heads of the younger viewers, just because it is an older kind of slur. But it did kind of make me do a double take too, and it's like, okay, that did just happen.
Yeah, I literally rewound it, and I was like, because Alexis was watching it with me, and she was like half asleep. I was like, did you hear that? Like, I could not believe it. Anyway, I mean, I do agree it probably went over at least the younger viewers and probably a lot of the older viewers. I mean, Cody is the oldest person here, and it went over his head apparently.
Yeah, it's true.
But I just had to mention that because I don't know how to feel about that. And I mean, I guess it's not my place as a white person to feel too strongly, but it felt a little problematic to me. I'm just gonna say it felt a little problematic.
That's fair.
Anyway, that out of the way. Actually, you know what? Before we get to final thoughts, I have one more question for you guys.
Yeah.
Sure.
What did you think about the opening credits animations?
I was going to get to that in my rating because it was something else that we hadn't touched on.
Oh.
You want to go first, Cody? Because I've got a lot to say on this.
I didn't mind it.
Oh boy,
go ahead. Just
it was fucking AI art. And okay, I realize there's a writer's strike going on, but as far as I know, there's not an artist strike going on. And Marvel, the company, is full of artists by definition. They could have paid a human being to animate that opening sequence, and instead they just went with the cheapest, easiest, ugliest option of having AI, just do that weird little deep dream kind of squiggly crap that it does with images, and just kind of autopilot its way through the entire opening sequence. That actually made me angry because it's cheap, but you're a freaking multi-billion-dollar company. You could put forth a little effort into trying to use your overworked special effects team to actually do an opening sequence. You sure as hell didn't pay them to do the effects, considering half the transformation sequences just had someone putting a hat over their face and all of a sudden they're a Skrull, and then pulling the hat back and they're a human. I mean, the opening sequence really pissed me off the more I thought about it. And with that, we're back on the air in Florida.
Hey, wow, we've never gained a state.
No, supposedly AI was used as part of that sequence, but actual artists were also involved. From this article I'm looking at right now.
Clicking the go button.
I'm not sure how much I believe that, because it really just smacks of AI art to me. I mean, just like the entirety of it.
Well, apparently it was made by a studio which has previously worked on other Marvel series, including Miss Marvel, Loki, and Moon Knight.
I was going to mention what those reminded me of. So,
and the studio said that no artist jobs were replaced by incorporating these new tools. They said they were seeking an otherworldly and alien look, which they achieved by utilizing a custom AI tool for the project. But then they also said the production process was highly collaborative and iterative, with a dedicated focus on the specific application of an AI tool set. It involved a tremendous effort by talented art directors, animators, artists, and developers who employed conventional techniques to craft all the other aspects of the project. So it sounds like, anyway.
To me, that sounds like corporate.
I would not be surprised if that's BS, but I thought it looked cool, honestly. Why is Cody laughing over there?
Just because you're like the Debbie Downer on the episode here, and Justin's like, I also hated the intro, and you're like, actually, I really liked that part.
Hey, why am I the Debbie Downer? You don't know how I felt about this
All
episode.
right, well, let's go back to those final thoughts
Or
then.
do we?
No, anyway, I like I like the intro. I mean, I do agree if it was mostly AI or all AI, obviously the shift towards that and replacing artists with AI is problematic.
So
But I was kind of high at the time, and visually it just looked awesome. So
hey, sometimes something's got to hit a certain way for you at a certain time in life.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
Even if it was okay, whether it was full AI art or only like AI influenced or whatever, it wasn't even that distinctive. I mean, compared to other AI generated videos out there, I mean, those look really weird, really otherworldly, really just out there and trippy. This, it was there, but it was like it was muted, like it was toned down, like they were
I
afraid to
mean,
make it
link me to some of those next time I do an edible.
Okay, give me a moment. I'll dig
No, I
something up.
mean, I get what you're saying. Like it was not, it was
Actually, look
not
up.
really groundbreaking, but
yeah,
I mean, I thought it was cool. I just
that's
wanted to touch on
serviceable.
that because I know it has been kind of controversial.
I was just seeing here topic change, but I was just seeing here also. I guess doesn't count as a spoiler, but because she's on a poster for the show apparently. But I do see someone is listed here as Nick Fury's wife for this series.
What?
So we may explore some of this guy's backstory yet.
Oh, that's interesting.
She's not listed as one of the top like 12 people, but I don't know. This might only be based on the first episode, I'm guessing. So
Priscilla Fury.
yes, she is both the queen and also Elvis's wife. So really the queen.
I see what you did there.
Definitely the queen.
All right.
All right. So anyway,
are we doing a numerical rating and whatnot?
let's do it, and we're gonna do it based on a combination of how much you enjoyed it / how much you're looking forward to the rest of this.
I will do it on my own scale because I don't listen to you.
Joe, why don't you do it on your own
I'm gonna
scale?
I'm gonna do it on the Dave Mansell scale. Just kidding. I will never understand that.
I understand where Dave comes from.
I understand where he's coming from too. I'm just
It's his mama.
um
Jesus Christ.
well,
Shout out to Mary.
I mean, I feel like I guess my scale is probably no, I tend to rate things just on a general 1 to 10 scale of comparing it to other films and television programs. And man, I feel like based on this first episode, I would give this a 6.5, which I think might be 0.5 points higher than I gave Cocaine Bear, which feels wrong because Cocaine Bear is a lot more fun.
That does seem wrong. Yeah.
No, I'll give this a 6.5. I enjoyed it. I'm not sorry I watched it, but I just really did not feel super invested in it. Like I will watch at least the next episode just to kind of try to get a sense of where it's going. Um, you know, Sam Jackson's great and everything. Like I said, I think the thing I'm most curious about is just to see what they do with Nick Fury as a character. And if we can, continue getting more depth from him, I think it's going to be worth watching. But just as an episode, not terrible. It was enjoyable, but it was far from one of the most amazing things I've ever seen.
Okay. Want me to go, Justin? You want to go next?
I'll go next because
Okay.
I agree with a lot of what Joe said. I mean, I didn't hate this. I also didn't love it. There was a time or two during this first episode that I found my attention just kind of wandering. Just because it didn't grab me as much as I hoped it would. That said, I mean, the premise could still be, it could still pay off in the end. and it could end up being a really intriguing sort of almost spy thriller kind of thing, with that overarching, tension and drama of like, how do we stop the world from just going to complete crap, more so than it already is, when we don't know who we can trust. And, if they play the stakes right, and if they make a few things a little less predictable, I think it could still be a very fun show in the end. But as of right now, this first episode, it didn't wow me like I was hoping it would. So I'm gonna go, I guess, kind of on the Dave Mansell scale. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. I didn't hate what I saw, but it could have been a lot better. But maybe it's just a slow start to something that's gonna, build and build until it's something really impressive. But just based on this one episode, it was very middle of the road for me.
What was your official number?
Mine, 6 out of 10.
Yeah, boy. I mean, I don't know what you guys are watching here, because intro credits, amazing. The Emilia Clarke character, Gaia, amazing. Probably her best role since Game of Thrones.
Is that true, or do you just have the hots for Emilia Clarke?
I don't even have the hots for Emilia Clarke.
Honestly, when I first saw her, I initially thought she was the same actress who played the little girl from the Silent Hill movie, like all grown up. So I looked it up to see if I was right, and it was like, oh no, she was Daenerys. So it's like, okay, that's where I've seen her before.
That was a sheep, Justin. No,
It's
actually,
actually Jason Momoa.
I mostly agree with everything you guys are saying here, which is, if I were to rate this on its own, I agree that it didn't necessarily hook me as much as I really wanted it to begin with. I do agree with what Justin just said, which is, the potential for where this could go. I still think it's definitely there. Maybe they needed to just put this in because it's a new plot line. They had to give us kind of the world build here for this little bit, even though obviously we're still within the MCU, but they're bringing back some of these characters we haven't seen in a while, introducing a few new characters, kind of setting up the story for what's happening in this. And as Justin said, could be a fun little thriller still, I think, because I do like a good hidden identity sci-fi movie, or whatever you want to call typical plots like that. But hopefully this goes in some directions where we get some of that. So if I'm, thinking two numbers in my head, which are not the same at all, but if I was to rate just this episode, I'm actually going to probably say 6. As far as MCU TV shows, wasn't one of my favorite ones so far. As far as potential for where this could go, at the moment, and how intrigued I am, I'm probably more like an 8. So I guess I'll say 7 is my official number tonight. Just
thank God I did not have the highest rating.
I really was going to just go with the 6, but I do think there's a little shine that this could go into yet. But I'm not as excited for where it could go based on this first episode so far. So,
okay.
But I think it is going to be kind of a downer, tense plot. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think this is going to have the cheerful jokes and the outlandish character. Like, this is going to be, I hate to use these words on another podcast, since we once upon a time may have mentioned these words before, but Falcon and the Winter Soldier never got off the ground. That show was just so bad.
No.
But kind of that street level dirty war type feel to it has kind of been introduced into this again. But we'll see where it goes, because the potential here is definitely a lot higher. So,
yeah,
that's what I got to say about that. So,
okay.
All right. Anybody else have anything for tonight?
Nothing that's coming to mind.
Sounds good. All right, everybody. Well, again, this has been another episode of Friends Occasionally Not Disagreeing. You can find us all over your favorite podcast streaming platforms, whatever that may be, and you can check us out on your favorite social media sites as well. Check for all good things on fodpodcast.com, and I guess we will leave tonight singing our song with us doing an impression of somebody else that we're posing as a Skrull. So I'll give you gents 20 seconds to decide who you're posing as.
Good boy.
And then we will get into this. Joe, I wouldn't say Sam Jackson, just to be clear.
Oh,
I did there? You said I did there?
I do see what you did there.
Also, this background picture of Talos that I have, if I lean just right, looks like he's smoking
Yeah, it does.
instead of sipping out of his milkshake cup that he has from Captain Marvel. So, all right. Well, everybody, till next time, this has been another episode of Friends.
Friends
Occasionally not
Not disagreeing. Yep.
disagreeing.
Oh, yeah. Too
Bye.
late.
Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.